very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on the Thursday edition of the show. I'm Yemi Adebayo. On the show tonight, we'll talk about the UEFA Europa League. We'll also talk about the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup, Nigeria's quest to surpass our previous achievements at the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup continues. We hope that the Flamingos will get past the quarter-final level. But first, of course, they have to get past the group phase. That will form our discussion on the show tonight. And, of course, we will start the quest to ensure that Nigeria's Tobi Amusan becomes the World Athletics Women's Athlete of the Year. We hope she wins the award. We'll do our best to start a push right here to make that happen. As you already know, I'm not alone on the show. Of course, my partner, my colleague, Osno Kona Akman, always available and is with me as they take this ride together, talking about things happening in your fast-paced, money-spinning world of sports.
Sporty greetings to you and me and everyone joining us on the show tonight. Still an action-packed, interesting, engaging morning spinning world of sports. Tobi Amusan, what a story she gave us in 2022. And so I was asking the World Athletics body that why do they even need to hesitate? Just give the Nigerian the award.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Why the hesitation? But we'll help them make up their minds. That's why we're here.
That's right.
We're Nigerians. And, of course, we hold that space, social media. And, of course, it's going to form a bulk of the votes. And we're hoping that she gets that. And a lot of campaign has been on social media, a lot of people doing. And, of course, on the show tonight, we're going to do our own bit to ensure that Tobi Express, in spite of the fact that she's coming up against some very strong candidates who have done well for themselves this year as well. But we're hoping that we'll be able to make that push and make it happen.
We'll see. We'll see. You know, I was looking at the nomination when the World Athletics said retweets to nominate the athlete, and I saw the way Nigerians, came out big time for this champ 100%, and she deserves every love, and attention she's getting at the moment. I mean, if the #1 president gets to meet you, gives you a national honor, tells you thank you for representing the country properly, then that's the highlight of 2022 for Tobi Amusan, breaking the world record. This is arguably the best hurdler in the world. We're just waiting to see what she will do at the Paris 2024 Olympics. She bossed the nomination. Nigerians came out and they started retweeting big time. I'm sure the World Athletics didn't see that coming, but that's us just telling Tobi that we appreciate everything she has done for the country and that we're going to stand by her and make sure she brings this award back home.
All right, let's just quickly show our viewers who are wondering, what are these guys talking about? That's it, right there on your screen. Women's World Athlete of the Year 2022 nominee, our very own, Tobi Amusan, World 100 meters hurdles champion. She also won the Diamond events at the Diamond League, won a Commonwealth, at the Commonwealth Games, currently holds the African 100 meters hurdles record and each champion as well. And of course, I mean, the high point of everything, setting the world record in the 100 meters hurdles with a record of 12.12 seconds, making her the fastest as it stands. All right, so that's it. There you go. So a lot of people also wondering, Austin, how can they help Tobi Express get the job done? This is what you have on screen. This is how to do it. How to vote for Tobi Amusan. Fans can vote online via the World Athletics social media platforms, and each individual graphics for each nominee will be posted on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. So a retweet on Twitter will count as one vote, and I mean, on all these platforms, just go ahead and you will see what to do. The World Athletics Council's vote will count to 50% of the result, while the World Athletics Family's votes and the public votes will each count for 25% of the final result. And guess what? Voting for the World World Athletes of the Year closes at midnight on Monday, 31st October. And of course, let's continue to push Nigeria. Nigeria is very active on, on social media. Hopefully, we'll be able to get Tobi across the line. So, of course, intermittently, we'll be bringing this to you so that you could do your part to ensure that Tobi Express becomes the Women's World Athlete of the Year in 2022. All right, let me just quickly go back to Austin. Let's continue this discussion. Austin, right there, we've started. And hopefully, the viewers and all sports lovers will oblige us and ensure that Tobi gets the nod for the award.
Let me just even remind our viewers that this call is not just for Nigerians back home. You know, this is also for Nigerians in diaspora, for fans of Tobi Amusan, for fans of African athletics, because she's representing the continent, you know. So we have from now till the 31st to give Tobi Amusan 25%, just 25%. So let's ensure that that is done. And I'm sure the World Athletics, Council, they already know that Tobi, is the real deal for 2022. So guys, let's show some love to this Nigerian, this young star, one who has shown us that if you believe in your dreams, that dreams do come through. Every time I speak to Tobi Amusan, I get inspired because she's got such a beautiful story. And I love the fact that she's not just representing Nigeria at the global stage, she's representing Africa. We're taking over, and that's what she has done when she broke the world record. So guys, let's give this love to Tobi Amusan. Anywhere you are in the world, watching channels, television, we're international, we're global, so I'm sure Nigerians in diaspora will jump on this, will show you how you can vote for Tobi Amusan. She needs just 25% of the vote, and I'm sure when she brings this award home, she's going to appreciate everyone for voting for her.
All right, so that's it. Austin lending his voice to it as well. And of course, we're not going to be doing this alone on the show. At some point, Fifa will join us if he's ready. We'll continue with this So that's it. So he will join us at any moment when we will have that conversation. But Austin, let's just quickly continue. So I agree that it's been a phenomenal year for Tobi Amusan. But you also said there are other athletes who have done so well and who would rival her for that award. So, it's easy to want our own to. It's easy to want our own to win, but do you think if you were a neutral, it's hard to be a neutral? Let's be honest. At this point, it's very hard to be a neutral. But if you're a neutral, which one of those ladies do you think stands a better chance?
Shellyanne, but I'm looking at what Tobi did, and it's just difficult to just pick out someone for female athlete of the year. Shericka Jackson also had a decent year, So, but if you, it's between Shellyanne Fraser-Pryce and Tobi Amusan. Actually, it's difficult to take Tobi off it, and this is me being as neutral and objective as I can be, because if you check the way she broke that world record and then went on the final and gave us a fantastic race again, came to the Commonwealth Games, smashed the games record. That level of consistency, you don't ignore it. It's so good, to just say, oh. Yes,
that's exactly what I wanted. That's exactly what I wanted. A lot of people are listening to us, and I wanted it to be clear that it's not just patriotism. It's not just patriotism. She has done well. And it's beyond us being Nigerians. She has done well. And even if you want to put aside the fact that we love her, she's from Nigeria, you have to look at what she has done in 2022. Right. And I agree with you 100%. It's difficult to ignore Tobi Amusan, our exploits in 2022, and plus the fact that we're Nigerians also makes it, makes us all the more passionate and hoping that she gets to win that award.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. If you look at the female athletes shortlisted, you could tell that any of those, female athletes can go on, to win the award. Don't forget there's Rambo in that list. There's also Sydney. I mentioned Sherika Jackson. There's Faith Kiergon. A lot of athletes who have done so well this year, and just being nominated is a testament that the world is watching, and then we appreciate and know what they've done. But it is what it is, and this time I'm not even sounding like a Nigerian. I'm sounding as an African, because that's Tobi telling Africa right there that we deserve all the respects that we're getting at the moment. So it is what it is. Yeah. We're objective, we're neutral, we're being real. If you want to give the award, give it to Tobi.
All right, I'm with you on that. Let's bring Fifa Itua in. He's with us, and he also joins us tonight as we continue this conversation. And let's see if we can have that conversation with Favor. Greetings to you, Favor. Thanks for finding out time to be with us on the show tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much, Yemi. Good evening to you. It's been an interesting conversation so far. And one would say I'm proud to be a Nigerian at the moment. And I'm always proud to be a Nigerian.
All right, so will you join the campaign to ensure that Tobi gets as much votes as she can? Austin quite rightly pointed out those votes will count for 25% of the total, but at least if she does so well in that, and of course she'll do well in other areas, it might be what just gets her across the line.
Yeah, for me, I started like 2 days ago. I started, using my official handles to, propagate the gospel. The interesting part of this nominees is the fact that Tobi Amusan this year has been a fantastic year for her. It's really interesting to know that she's not just there based on the fact that she's an African or a Nigerian, but she deserved to be part of the nominees for this year's award. And she's had a fantastic season, like I said. You look at what she's done. Austin rightly mentioned about how she broke the records for the 100 meters women's hurdle at the World Championships, how she won gold, of course, in Birmingham. Her consistency is what is interesting for me. From where she started, and now she has taken it from one step to another step, and she keeps on raising the bar. Don't forget, she had a close chase this year. Camacho Queen was one lady who gave her a run for her money when it comes to the hurdles, but she was able to go past Camacho Queen and then show the stuff she's made of. So for Nigerians to have her amongst the nominees, it's not, it's by merit. So she deserves to be the winner of this one. So I'm also lending my voice with Austin, where I've decided a campaign, and right now she's leading on Twitter, she's leading on Instagram, aside from maybe Facebook or the other platforms, which of course I know Nigerians are also trying their best to give her that particular vote. For me this year, you would not even want to take anything away from her. Yes, Fisher Price also had a fantastic year. She went to give birth. She came back into the tracks. She was able to give her best when it comes to athletics. But you must also talk about Tobi Amusan, what she did this year. So far so good. A lot of persons, athletics had never had this publicity or this massive, a discussion when it comes to this sport. But this year, courtesy Tobi Amusan, we've seen that athletics, has been on the lips of so many Nigerians, and a lot of persons want to see what is happening in the world of athletics. Courtesy the lady Tobi Amusan. So I think it's deserved for her. We should also give her a vote. And this is not us just trying to be Nigerians, but looking at what she has done in the tracks in the last 10 months or 11 months of this calendar, or the last 10 months of this year, we can say yes. It's okay to campaign for her. It's okay to also tell her you've done well, you deserve this award. So I also want to look at what she has done. And also the records of, the meeting records of the Diamond League. Remember that before now, it was held by Gail Devers. She was able to break that record, 12.29 seconds at the Diamond League, to retain the Diamond League she won last year. That's also something to point out. One would say, okay, maybe the World Athletics Championship was a fluke, but she told us, no, it's not a fluke. It's something she has been working towards soon. And she did that at Birmingham. She also did that at the Diamond League in Zurich. So for me, I would say it's fantastic. She deserves to be the winner of the Women's Athlete of the Year from the World Athletics.
All right, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, she will get that nod. All right, let me yield the floor to Austin. We can go on and on if we want to talk about Tobi Amusan. She's done a lot this year. So let me just quickly yield the floor to Austin. Let's go to India and talk about the FIFA Women's Under-17 World Cup. But trust me, from time to time, we will get back to this conversation about Tobi Express, Tobi Amusan, and our quest to ensure that she gets to win that award. But Austin, let's go to India. That's it on your screen. Before I quickly go to Austin, let's look at the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup matches that will be played tomorrow. Group A, Brazil will take on the United States. India will take on Morocco. Of course, Morocco, Africa's representative. And the big one tomorrow, New Zealand will take on Nigeria, and Germany will take on Chile. A lot of people are already hoping that these guys will just cancel themselves out. And since we're still playing Chile, maybe if Germany could defeat Chile, that probably will make them desperate when they played against Nigeria. But I mean, that is me already starting with permutations. All right. So, Austin, the floor is yours. We're looking at the Women's World Cup. We didn't like the way it started, but of course, our destiny is still in our own hands.
Yeah, that's right. It looks that way, and we just need to support these girls. Don't forget that they're so young. They don't have the sort of experience that you expect so much from them. And I think they did carry themselves so well. The Flamingos, right from the qualifiers to when they played, Germany, getting the lead, and whatever happened in the second half, and then they lost 2-1. They need to come out to prove themselves against New Zealand. I don't care what happens in the game between Germany and Chile. They just need to stay focused, beat New Zealand to get their campaign back on track. I always mention Coach Bankole whenever I talk about this team, because he's somebody that I know so well I can use as a model for developmental football, and I like that he started properly from the grassroots, from the schools, which is what we always preach, that if you want to, get it right, go back to the schools, go back to the basics, and so he has some things he can, translate, and give to these girls for them to actually become future stars. I like that we're already talking about some names. One of them, Opeyemi Ajakaye. We also mentioned 2 other names from the game against Germany. I want to hear more names, so that by the time we start talking about the under-20, we'll see some of these girls, translating to that. But at this World Cup in India, they should keep away that defeat to Germany and stay focused on the game against New Zealand. I think it's a game they can win, but I just want to see purpose. I want to see coordination. I want to see them play as a team. I want to see girls who understand that when you fall, you must rise again. I think Coach Bankole, has an ability to talk to them, to do the right things on the pitch, beat New Zealand, and keep hopes alive.
All right. We're about to go on a break. So what are you expecting from tomorrow?
I think it's going to be a good game, but I just want to see a proper game of football that will make us believe that they're learning, they're advancing, and they want to keep getting better. I'm not good with predictions, and at this level, it is what it is. These are young stars, and I always preach no pressure. So I'm not going to come here and say I expect them to go ahead, beat New Zealand 3-0 or 4-0 or 5-0, but I expect them to win. Why? Because if you go through the game against Germany with the way they played and what Chile did to New Zealand, you want to expect Nigeria to go on to beat New Zealand. So I expect them to win, and I just want to wish them all the best. I'm sure you two will have something different to say about this. But let's go on a quick break. When we come back, it's still all about the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup taking place in India. Nigeria will take on New Zealand tomorrow. Don't go anywhere. Stay. Welcome back. It's Sports Tonight on your award-winning sports-loving channels television. We're talking about the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup. Nigeria will take on New Zealand in their second Group B match. Right there at the FIFA tournament. Favor is with us on the show. Favor, I just told my colleague Yemi that I'm super confident that the Flamingos can pick a win against New Zealand. Do you believe they can do it?
Yeah, for me, I believe they can do it. I mean, I saw the game against Germany. I would say some tactical brilliance from the Germans. The game started, of course, for the girls of the under-17. I think they were G3 going into the game, but at some point in the game, they were able to come in, take the game to the Germans and also draw first blood. But, a bit of, lackluster defending, a bit of, not being at the right place being at the right place at the right time ensured that the Germans capitalized on the girls and then got the very best of our team. But against New Zealand, I think they've learned from their mistakes. And one thing Bankole would have to do would be to, tell the girls to be able to be more decisive in terms of how they finish their balls. The final balls, was a problem in the last game. They were not able to connect that very well. I think it's a developmental stage in football in the world. So I think it's okay when you make some mistakes, but also the ability to bounce back, the ability to correct the mistake is key. Especially, this is the bedrock for our Super Falcons. A lot of players who have played in the under-17 have gone on to represent the Nigerian side as Super Falcons. Even in the world stage, we've seen players grow up to play for their senior women national team. So Coach Bankole will have a lot to do against New Zealand. I'm not taking anything away from them, but I think the Nigerian side can bounce back. I mean, Chile gave them a run for their money. Chile was able to get the best out of them. So for the Flamingos, what they need to do is take their chances, play as a unit, and avoid maybe forcing the balls of trying to play or try to be a star player of the team. I think we'll be able to get something out of it. They have some fantastic players. The right wing, Usani, who got the free kick. She was solid from the right wing position. Like Opeyemi, like rightly mentioned. Also, the captain of the side, she showed flashes that she'll be a good player or a superstar given some years ahead in the nearest future. So I want Nigerians not to really expect so much, but at least we should also know that this is a developmental process of football. Yes, we want to win. We're Nigerians, so we'd expect that get back to winning ways. For Coach Bankole, he had gotten the best of preparations, if not the best, but at least a sizable number of games he played with the team. The team had been in camp for a while. They had the best of qualifiers, so we expect that they give a better performance when they play New Zealand tomorrow. So I'm optimistic, and I believe we'll get our first win tomorrow.
I think so too. So I'll wait to see. But I mean, what if you were to take a look at the first game against Germany? What do you expect them to do differently that can give them the results tomorrow?
I'll go with Favor. A win is a win. A win is a win. As much as we could say it's developmental football, I don't want them to crash out in the first round. So against the side that appears to be, it's disrespectful to say, but I'll just have to say that appears like they might be the whipping girls of the group. I mean, just find that win anyhow. Then in the last game, there was really nothing that I could say they didn't do in the first game. But in our conversation, the things that I said is that on that stage, it looked like the Germans were better prepared. On that stage, it looks like they had more exposure. There was really nothing. Player for player, I didn't think the Germans were better. But as a collective, it looked like, we've been there. And if you've been somewhere before, when occasion demands that you act in a certain way, because you've seen that situation before, you rise up to that occasion.
How to deal with it.
If you've not been there before, if you've not faced challenges on that level, then it becomes difficult to react. So I'm wishing the girls all the best, just like you said, like Favor said as well. I'm not concerned about that game. I don't know if I'm being disrespectful to the girls from New Zealand. I'm not really worried about that game, but I just don't want us to crash out in the first round.
But you know what? You will be worried if they don't win that game. That's what that one I know you will be.
I will be.
You'll be worried if they don't win. So something inside you is a bit uneasy until they win that game, you know? Sure. And I totally agree with you. And I agree when you said management, and to an extent, game, reading the game was what helped Germany. I think the technical crew read that game properly. I'm sure they had proper, game analysts who maybe at halftime, read the game and told them, do this, do this, do this, and you break this young Nigerian side, and it happened for Germany. No love lost. We'll move on. I hope that they win tomorrow. Sports Tonight on Channels Television. Let's get on with the show. The FIFA ranking for women, I love talking about that one. You know why.
Well, let me allow you to explain it yourself.
When we talk about the FIFA ranking for the men, I'm sure you know where Nigeria will be. But with the women, we know definitely that we're going to bust in Africa. And that's what is happening with the latest FIFA Women's World Ranking. If you take a look at Africa's top 5, the Super Falcons. Yes, we've been asking a lot of questions lately, but somehow they still find a way to stay top in Africa, Yemi.
All right, so that's it. Like Austin was saying, Nigeria is still the best women's football playing team on the African continent, followed closely by South Africa, Cameroon, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, in that order. But globally, we're the 45th best football playing nation. And then globally, you would see, it's going to come on your screen, globally, the United States are the best football playing nation according to FIFA when it comes to the women. And so you have Sweden, Germany, England, France, Spain, Canada, Netherlands, Brazil, and Korea, Democratic Republic in the 10th position. That's the world's top 10, the ranking done by world's football governing body, FIFA, talking about the best football playing nations in the women's category. And hopefully Nigeria will be able to move up very soon. All right, guys, let's quickly move on. There's a lot of ground for us to cover. We're still talking FIFA-related matters now. Let's talk about the Mundial, the biggest, in my opinion, biggest sporting event anywhere, the FIFA World Cup. I know a lot of people will argue and say it's the Olympics, but anyway, we're not arguing on the show. FIFA World Cup is 38 days to go. We're feeling the vibes. It's going to be next month, the first World Cup to be held in the Middle East, first World Cup to be held also by an Arab nation, first World Cup to be hosted in just one city. A lot of firsts for Qatar. Let me go to Favor quickly. We need to move really fast at this point. But Favor, 38 days to go. Are we feeling it? Or are you feeling it? Does it appear like the World Cup is happening? Are you feeling the buzz with 38 days to go?
What is the World Cup without Nigeria? I mean, in as much as we as journalists, we know the World Cup is 38 days to go, but it would have been different if we had Nigeria, in the World Cup. We know by now we'll be having the vibes, we'll be having who would be who will be called up to the national team. But away from that, I really want to say the preparations from Qatar has been top-notch. You could see that they've been preparing for years. They've been very innovative and be very precise about how they want to organize the tournament. Look at the do's and don'ts. Particularly, it's not going to be like the Brazil edition, the Brazil edition, the Russia edition, because some rules have been put in place by the government of Qatar to ensure, certain things pertaining to their religion is not, corrupted. So it's going to be very interesting, I think so. And they've started making plans for, having hotels around the city, not just about hotels being built. You have these tents being built for, fans and, media to come in and then, be able to relax and sit well. I think they're ready. It's really interesting to know that even players are looking forward to have game time with their respective club sides so they can, be called up to the national team. For some players who have been injured, it's a sad one for them. They will not be able to participate, at the World Cup. For example, Neto of Portugal, who got injured for Wolverhampton Wanderers. So I think it's interesting, but it's just sad that Nigeria will not be part of it. And trust me, it's going to tell at least a bit in the economy of Qatar, because we know how it is when Nigeria take the trip to another man's country for the World Cup. It's definitely going to be massive, because we Nigerians, we know how to give massive support when it comes to our teams at the Mundial. So, but for Qatar, it's good for them. It's also good for the region, the Middle East. I mean, this is something to show that, yes, we are involved in football and also in the world body of FIFA. So I think it's going to be interesting. aside, even though yes, we are not part of it, and I think it's going to be fine.
All right. So, Favor reminding me of things that I thought I'd forgotten. But anyway, let me go to Austin. Austin, let's continue with what we started a while ago. Let's take a look at Group D and look at what could likely happen as we approach the World Cup. We'll be looking at these groups and what could likely happen. The standout team in Group D, obviously, is France, and defending World Cup champions, everybody's top pick to win the World Cup. A lot of drama going on in the French team, but there's still a star-studded team. You have Australia, Denmark, and Tunisia, Africa's representatives in that one. So it's going to be France and any other country. Usually I don't like making predictions, but here I think it's a safe bet. France and any other country. Most likely it will be Denmark. I don't know if Austin agrees with me in the direction that I've decided to go with Group D.
Yeah, Group D looks tricky to an extent. If you take off France, yeah, no disrespect to Denmark, but Australia can do something at the World Cup. Tunisia can actually, step up their game. We know the Tunisians and the kind of football they play. They're very unpredictable. On a good day, they get the results, and I think they can bank on the qualifiers. Take a look at how far they've come. To qualify for the World Cup, even right from the AFCON when they gave Nigeria that upset. I think they've been decent to a particular level. Australia, as I said, that's one team that they just take any result that comes their way. When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad, But I totally agree with you. If you give this 100% to France and Denmark, particularly we saw Denmark at the Euros, you could tell that there's a team that wants to keep getting better and better, So, but the World Cup just comes with a different look and feel, and I've been saying it that guys brace up. This World Cup, we're going to see a lot of upsets. I don't know, there's just something unusual about this World Cup. I feel because we're having it at a time when we've never had the World Cup, FIFA, coming up with different rules, Qatar coming up with different things also, and I just believe that part of the psychological part of football might just come in and even affect some of these big names. But it is what it is. For those of us who are analysts of football on television or other part of the media, we will definitely go with the guys that we know have gone out there to, do the big things that we expect them to do. And you can't put that away from the likes of France and Denmark.
Okay, all right, so we'll leave it at that. But also, let's still stay with the World Cup. We talked about the next thing a while ago, and it's back on the front burner, and I'm very sure when we continue with this, you bring Favor into it. FIFA has unveiled video graphics of the semi-automated offside technology for the FIFA World Cup. A lot of people fought against technology. A lot of people said it was going to slow down the game. There were a lot of, even when VAR came, people resisted it. Now we're embracing it. Some are saying it's not working well. I think a lot of people now agree that technology helps. But this one, it's going to be so fast, so quick, and FIFA says it's going to help football. And it's going to be about game-changing moments in the game. Talk about red cards, talk about offsides. In a fraction of a second, the referee already knows. You don't even need to call him because he has a clear, that's what the technology does. So I don't know if you think this one, some people are already calling it cutting edge. I want to see it first, though. I want to see it before I call it cutting edge. But what difference do you think this technology will make for the World Cup, which is just 38 days to go?
I think it will do a lot in touching the human angle of the game. We're still trying to understand VAR, and then FIFA bringing in more technology into the game. Yes, we've seen some cases where even after VAR,
Sure. Yeah.
We question some calls.
Mm-hmm.
We say, what's this? Well, maybe this will correct those calls, And I totally agree, because if you send off a player unjustly and then it affects his team, you know, whatever that result is, it will hamper it. You hear fans start saying, if not for that call, if not for this, if not for that. We see that every week in football. So let's see what FIFA wants to do with this. They have said it's near perfection. I remember that was what Pierluigi Collina said about VAR when I was covering the World Cup in Russia in 2018. He said VAR will solve about 95% of football problems. Has it done that? To an extent, yes, but people still have their doubts about VAR and now more technology coming into it. Let me bring Favor into the conversation. Favor, I don't know how much you accepted the video assistant referee when it was introduced, but hey, we're going to have more technology.
Yeah. For me, I believe as the year goes by, we should be able to open our minds towards accepting technologies. But one thing I would say has been a disaster for football in the world is the fact that our referees are no longer competent. You get to see, I was watching the World Cup, the 2010 World Cup. That incident that happened between Suarez and Suarez using the hand to get the ball that ensured a penalty. The referee had to blow a penalty within the space of 5 seconds. He didn't have to consult VAR because he knows that he has to believe in his instincts. He has to be at alert. He has to be focused. But you look at it these days, yes, technology has helped a bit, but our referees are now relying more on technologies. They feel, hey, if I don't get it right, the VAR is going to call me or someone is going to tell me, hey, check it again. But at the end of the day, it still boils down to the discretion of the referee. Because when the video assistant referee calls you to check a particular incident, it's still left for you to either say, okay, yes, I am going to go with it, or I am not going to go with it. So I'm still seeing some lapses, in as much as, yes, it has helped for instance, offside calls, a lot of things, but some controversies have also come up, with the use of VAR. But I'm still open to technology. I'm open to the new one. Let's see how it can help. But I think the adrenaline rush of football has reduced a bit. The tempo of the game has also slowed down. I'm an advocate of VAR, but still, I feel it should be better than what we have at the moment. Our referees are no longer what we used to have. Split decisions, split seconds to make decisions, they are always there. But these days, you get to see them, a bit relaxed, not being firm as it used to be. I just hope FIFA would, tell us, and we'll see how it's going to be put to use. But I still say, and I still repeat again, it's technology. Somebody controls or mans the technology to decide what happens next. So let's see how it goes, at the FIFA World Cup in Qatar.
So that's it. Look, these conversations will always have debates. People will not accept it 100%. But what we need to accept is that technology in football has come to stay. It has been used in tennis for a long time, and those guys, rely on it, and it's been useful. So with this semi-automated offside technology for the FIFA World Cup, maybe we're going to have, clearer calls, and the level of injustice in officiating will be reduced. That's the hope that FIFA is having, but they're super confident that it will be close to perfection. So we'll wait to see how it will go down at the World Cup.
All right, let's move on the show and talk about the only thing in the last few months that we can't really call it a negative, but doesn't really paint Qatar, doesn't paint a good picture for Qatar. Issues about migrant workers, issues about women's rights have also, entered into the fray, and they found ways to deal with it. And we've been reading a lot of reviews about all the things that Qatar has done, transportation, accommodation, a whole lot of things. But this one, Council of Europe's Parliamentary Assembly has examined Qatar's progress in the workers' rights ahead of the FIFA World Cup. We know that at some point there were calls to even strip Qatar of the hosting rights outright. Some were making calls because of the treatment of migrant workers. Some also talked about inclusion, women, and all that. And Doha has come under scrutiny and criticism from human rights groups over the treatment of migrant workers. And so there's been a response. There's been people talking about this situation. So what we're going to do is to take a reaction from that situation that's currently going on, that's probably the only negative that Qatar has to deal with. So what we're going to do now, we're going to quickly take a listen to that, and of course, we'll come back for more on Sports Tonight.
The Qatar authorities have genuinely achieved real advances in the field of labour rights, and our Assembly we have commended them for what they've done. However, the actual situation of workers in Qatar does remain really worrying. The number of tragic accidents continues to run into the hundreds, and enforcement of new rules isn't sufficiently effective.
The labour rights landscape in Qatar has changed significantly for the better. Our due diligence process includes working closely with contractors, a key stakeholder in this process, to implement these standards, educating them about their human rights obligations, as well as empowering workers and raising awareness of their rights.
On the one hand, hundreds of thousands of workers have changed jobs. On the other hand, we still see retaliation by some employers when workers wish to change jobs. Retaliation that can take the form of cancelling their residency permits or threatening them with deportation.
In an environment where collective bargaining and trade unions are not a viable option for workers, we innovatively created a multi-tiered mechanism allowing them to share feedback and grievances without fear of retaliation. The flagship grievance platform that we introduced, the Workers' Welfare Forums, allows workers to seek remedy through democratically elected representatives.
There have been very many discussions with FIFA about many things, and we have had many promises which are yet to be fulfilled. Dismissals, delays, and hollow commitments just aren't good enough on this issue. FIFA must now use all its leverage to get changes implemented.
It's really important that these changes remain and are built upon, and hopefully even spread wider in the Middle East region throughout the Gulf. We heard, I think, one of the previous speakers say that the standards, the labour standards in the World Cup sites are kind of setting the standard in Qatar. So hopefully we can drag things up as a result of this.
All right, that's it. So the progress that Qatar has made is being tracked. A lot of people monitoring how migrant workers are being treated and all of those issues. Progress is being made. Whether it will be enough for human rights groups is what is left to be seen. All right, so let's move on, guys. I'm told we have just about 5 minutes to go, and so let's just quickly use that to talk about the UEFA Europa League. Some are just currently going on, some already concluded. Austin, let me allow you to tell us some of the interesting stories around the Europa League today.
Some big results in the Europa League, but fans of this league, they are waiting for those guys that will drop from the UEFA Champions League. And if you see some of the teams that are dropping, then you know that this year's Europa League group knockout stage will be fire. Arsenal, they kept their good form going against Bodo Glimt. In an away game, they won by a single goal. Bukayo Saka with that goal in first half, and no pressure for the Gunners, and they went on to win that one. Big win for PSV Eindhoven at home over FC Zurich. They won that one by 5-0. It was goals galore in that one. Fenerbahce went away to beat AEK Larnaca by 2-1. Dynamo Kiev lost at home to Rennes by a single goal. Real Betis and Roma played 1-1 in the Europa League. Ludogorets defeated Helsinki by 2-0. And the result you see right there between Feyenoord and FC Midtjylland ended 2-2. Big result for Freiburg over Nantes, and that's a surprising result right there. I mean, remember when we were previewing the Europa League, we said this is a sort of results that you see in the Europa League for a team as Nantes and the quality that they've been showing. You'll be shocked and wonder, you know, how they lost to Freiburg by 4-0 at home, while Olympiacos and Korabag right there and playing goalless in Europa League. Quite a number of games, you know, are still going on. The game between Manchester United and Omonia Nicosia still goalless. You wonder what's going on with Manchester United in that Group E fixture. Real Sociedad defeated beating FC Sheriff by 3-0. Itwa, let me let you comment. Which of these results got you talking?
Yeah, for me, it's the game that has Francis Uzor, the goalkeeper of Nigeria, is in goal against Manchester United. In the first half, he made over 5 saves. In the second half, currently, he has made about 3 saves already. And the reason his team has not conceded is Francis Uzor. I mean, a lot of persons have been talking on Twitter, if we can have Francis Uzor like this for the Super Eagles, maybe it would have been in the World Cup. But for me, Arsenal have been fantastic. They kept their winning ways. And they've also ensured that they keep the first defeat in 14 matches to Bodo Glimt at home. In Europe, they've had a 14-winning streak at home. But Arsenal have been able to stop that, away from there. So it's been good so far for the teams, and I think they will do well.
All right. I really wish we had time, but we had to go. Fifa, too, I want to thank you for your time on the show today. Hopefully, we'll do this again some other time.
Thank you very much, Yemi. Thank you, Austin, for having me.
Thank you, Fifa, for being on the show. Shocking results in the Europa League. Yemi, one of them, Trabzonspor 4, Monaco 0. That's the show. We'll be back again tomorrow. But until then, in everything you do, remember, let's keep talking sports. Bye for now.
Yeah, and that's the show today. We do thank you for allowing us into your homes without really knocking on the door. It's a privilege we will never take for granted. All right, so one more show for the week, and that will be tomorrow. Till then, enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.